Television. Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.
Hello and thanks for staying with us on Asset Television. Welcome to the news. I am Emmanuel Ejike. First, the headlines. Aviation authorities to sanction airlines that fail to keep to time schedule. Kaduna residents lament scarcity of bread. NATO meets to decide support for Ukraine. Now, the news in full. The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority has said it will sanction airlines engaged in deceitful departure time scheduling. The Acting Director General, NCAA, Captain Chris Najomo, made the assertion in a statement signed by the Director, Public Affairs Consumer Protection, Michael Achimugu, on Tuesday. The NCAA warned the airlines to desist from the infraction or face their regulatory actions. Najomo was quoted as saying that if the NCAA was enabling business-friendly environment for operators, then the operators must satisfy the passengers with superior services. He further stated that the authority believes in safety, discipline, and economic regulation, which is evident in the recent suspension of the permits for non-commercial flight holders for failing to comply with the recertification advisory issued in April 2004 and 24. Speaking on the ease of doing business environment at the NCAA, Najomo said the ease of business is an area the authority would continue to improve. On the difficulty in refund processes by airlines, Najomo said all refunds by airlines must be done devoid of undue delays, and the process should conclude in 14 working days, regardless of the mode of purchase of the tickets. The Senate has urged the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, initiate measures to tackle the impending food insecurity in the country. It also urged government to outline measures put in place to combat the situation and address Nigerians on it. The Senate's resolution followed adoption of a motion on urgent need to address food insecurity and market exploitation of consumables in Nigeria at plenary. The motion was sponsored by Senator Sunday Karimi, APC Kogi, and Senator Ali Ndume, APC Borno. Leading the debate, Karimi said, in the last few months, the price of goods and household consumables in Nigeria had been on an all-time high. This, he said, was leading to a high rate of inflation, weakening purchasing power and affecting living conditions of vast majority of Nigerians. He said, the latest data by National Bureau of Statistics shows that food inflation in the country skyrocketed to 40.66% on a year-on-year basis, representing a significant increase from the 24.82% recorded in May 2023. Karimi said, current market price of food items such as beans, maize, rice, paddy, yam, tomatoes, and onions, which initially rose by about 40% after removal of petroleum subsidy, has increased to between 100% and 300%, with no attributable reasons for the increase in prices. He said, insecurity in food-producing regions, bad roads, increase in cost of transportation, depreciation of the value of naira had been identified as possible factors contributing to increase in price of food items and other consumables. He, however, said that the greater percentage of the increase in prices of food items and consumables were not only responsible for the factors, rather, the greed of merchants, traders, and retailers to make supernormal profits. He expressed worry that efforts made by the government to arrest consistent increase in food inflation was yet to yield the desired result. Karimi said there was need to be more pragmatic about addressing food insecurity, curb harder farmer crisis, kidnapping from ransom, and terrorism. This, he said, will ensure development of a viable national commodity board to regulate price of grains. He said efforts should be made to ensure eliminating of artificial contributions to food and commodity inflation in Nigeria. Senator Ali Ndume, APC Borno, who seconded the motion, said recent reports indicated that Nigeria might face food insecurity, adding that People were hungry as many farmers no longer had access to their farms because of insecurity. He said the lawmakers needed to take urgent steps as representatives of the people as prices of food were on the high side. In his contribution, Senator Ahmed Lawal, APC Yobe, lamented that Nigerians now struggle to have just a meal a day. According to him, the silos are empty, saying that federal government will have to make frantic efforts to import food. He said the National Assembly must engage the executive to take immediate steps to avert the looming food insecurity. Senator Ahmed Wadada, SDP Nasarawa, however, commended the federal government for the recent decision to relax import duties and tax on food items to be imported into the country. He said the issue of prices of food was a serious matter, adding that Nigerians were patient people. He urged lawmakers to do whatever was required at their various levels to add value to food production in the country. President of Senate Godswill Akpabio said the food issues increased when farmers were denied access to their farmlands due to activities of bandits. He said the abandonment of farms by farmers due to insecurity had been a long-standing worrisome matter for too long a time. He urged government to encourage farmers and farming activities, especially this period. Akpabio said he was informed by Committee Chairman on Agriculture that federal government had provided 60 trucks of fertilizer to each state. According to him, senators and House of Representative members will receive between 1 and 2 trucks for onward distribution to their constituencies. This, he said, was to ensure farming for improved production of food by Nigerians involved in agriculture. He said efforts must be made to improve farming activities while also commending the federal government for looking in the direction of tax duty exemption for imported food items into Nigeria. Acute scarcity of one of Nigeria's most popular staple foods, bread, has hit Kaduna, Katsina, and Kano states. Checks by newsmen revealed that the most favored staple food was now as scarce as petrol. Many of the residents could no longer afford their darling food, as such had turned to other not too cheap alternatives like noodles, millet porridge, and bean cake. The prices of the commodity were available has also been increased to between 20 and 40%. Many shop owners and consumers have vehemently lamented the development, appealing for an urgent action to address the ugly trend. The House of Representatives Committee investigating the arbitrary increase in cement prices has stated that Alhaji Aliko Dangote is not above the parliament. The Joint Committees on Commerce, Industry, Special Duties and Solid Minerals has summoned the management of Dangote Cement for questioning over alleged arbitrary increase in the prices of cement in Nigeria. The committee therefore threatened to arrest the management of Dangote Cement if it failed to appear at its next hearing. This followed the absence of officials of the cement company during an investigative hearing to address the problem of cement increase in the country. The special panel led by Jonathan Gaza, while advocating for the downward review of cement prices, expressed worry over the increase in cement prices. According to the committee, no single individual is bigger than the parliament of his country. The committee bemoaned the untold hardship as it has brought upon many Nigerians and directed the Cement Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and the Central Bank of Nigeria to cause appearances before the committee in the next 2 weeks. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Asset Television. We'll be back after this short break.
Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television. Welcome to Asset.
Welcome back from the break. Health workers in Kaduna State have suspended the 5-day warning strike that began on Monday. The workers embarked on a strike to press home demands for the improvement of their welfare package. This is contained in a communique signed by the State Secretary, National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, NASA Yashi. He said, The health workers engaged in a frantic and meaningful discussion with the government, which resulted into a signing of a memorandum of understanding. The suspension is to also give room for more negotiations and await the government to fulfill her own side of the MOU, adding that the strike is thereby suspended and the workers are expected to resume their normal duties immediately. Resoluteness in making this struggle for the betterment of our welfare a huge success. The Plateau State House of Assembly has urged the State Emergency Management Agency to develop strategies to mitigate erosion in some parts of the state. The House made the proposal during its Tuesday plenary, presided over by the Speaker, Gabriel Diwan. The lawmakers expressed concern over SEMA's lack of prompt response to the plight of victims. Nambol Daniel had, in a motion of urgent public importance, urged the Plateau government to urgently tackle erosion in Langtan North Central and other parts of the state. Daniel quoted Section 20 of the 1999 Constitution, which states that the state shall protect and improve the environment and safeguard the water, air, land, forest, and wildlife of Nigeria. The lawmaker said that it was paramount to bring to the attention of the House the recent flood in 65 communities across Lantan North Central that occurred on June 28. Daniel stated that the flood caused significant damage to properties, disrupted daily life, and posed danger to residents. The lawmaker also called on the government to take proactive measures that will help minimize the economic and social impact of future flood events. He urged members of the House to ensure the Plateau government directed relevant agencies to conduct a comprehensive assessment of flood-prone areas in the state. According to him, the agencies should develop and implement a flood management plan that includes infrastructure upgrading, drainage systems, constructing flood barriers, and maintaining natural waterways. Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State has approved the appointment of Malam Aminu Kalmawa as the Director General of the newly created Borno State Mining Agency. This is contained in a statement in Maiduguri by the Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Professor Usman Tar. Chalmawa, who is the geologist, is expected to bring his over 35 years cognate experience in civil service to the job. The governor urged the newly appointed DG to justify the confidence reposed in him and work assiduously to reposition the mining sector in Borno State. NATO leaders are meeting in Washington on Wednesday to discuss the alliance support for Ukraine in the war against Russia. The talks followed the ceremony held on Tuesday to mark the 75th anniversary of the founding of the military alliance in the aftermath of World War II and the onset of the Cold War. The leaders are expected to discuss outgoing NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg's plan to provide Kiev with military aid worth 40 billion euros in 2025. NATO members have strongly supported Ukraine since the Russian invasion in February 2022. According to Stoltenberg, NATO needed to convince Russia that it cannot win its war against Ukraine by waiting for Western support to wither. But the 40 billion euros pledged has been watered down from the multi-year financial commitment for Ukraine that Stoltenberg initially wanted. The alliance will review the military aid again next year, potentially weakening the package further. The summit is Stoltenberg's last as Secretary General. Former Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte is set to take over in October. US President Joe Biden on Tuesday opened the summit by announcing that NATO allies will supply additional air defense systems to Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is also attending, hopes that the meeting of national leaders from the 32 NATO countries will clarify Ukraine's prospects for membership of the Western Defense Alliance. Ukrainian leadership also hoped to see a commitment to stronger military support as its forces seek to take back large parts of the country in the east and south which were illegally annexed by Russia. Since 2019, Ukraine has had its NATO membership ambitions enshrined in its national constitution. Non-sports. Defending champions Argentina reached the Copa America final after goals from Julian Alvarez and Lionel Messi gave them a 2-0 win over Canada in Tuesday's semi-final in New Jersey. Argentina will face either Uruguay or Colombia in Sunday's final in Florida, a match that could represent the last shot at silverware for several senior squad members including Messi, Angel Di Maria and Nicolas Otamendi. Argentina have won a joint record 15 Copa titles and reached the final 6 times in the past 8 editions, but Canada caused them real problems in the opening 20 minutes, with Jacob Schalfenberg twice shooting wide from promising positions. After soaking up the early pressure, though, Argentina went ahead when Rodrigo de Paul played through Alvarez. He ghosted in between 2 defenders to score with a tidy finish in the 22nd minute. Argentina, 2022 World Cup winners and number 1 in FIFA's rankings, gradually took control, and Messi had a chance to double their lead in the 44th minute. This was when he created space in the penalty box with some silky footwork before lashing his effort wide. Canada nearly snatched an equalizer against the run of play in first half stoppage time as Jonathan David sneaked in ahead of his marker to get on the end of a long throw-in, but his close-range shot was hit straight at the goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. Messi has struggled with a muscle injury earlier in the tournament, but appeared revitalized on a hot and humid evening at the MetLife Stadium. He scored Argentina's second in the 51st minute, sticking out a boot to divert Enzo Fernandez's shot from the edge of the area past Canada goalkeeper Maxime Gropil. The goal moved Messi to joint 5th in the all-time Copa America scoring charts, level with Peru's Paulo Guerrero and Chile's Eduardo Vargas on 14. His 109th goal for Argentina also saw him surpass Iran's Ali Daei to take sole possession of second place on the all-time international scoring charts. Messi trails only Cristiano Ronaldo, who has scored 130 goals for Portugal. In spite of their 2-goal caution, Argentina had a nervy finish to the match. Canada substitute Tani Oluwaseyi tested Martinez with a crisp shot in the 89th minute before directing a glancing header wide a minute later. For Canada, the defeat ends a remarkable run in which they defied expectations. They also performed better than their higher-ranked CONCACAF rivals, Mexico and the US, their fellow co-hosts on the 2026 World Cup. And that is the news. I am Emmanuel Ejike. Keep watching Asset Television for more interesting programs. Thank you.
Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television. Welcome.